All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Race number 1 for the first time ever. The season finale at Mugello. Nick Sorensen and Harry Volsmeer out on the front row. Giancarlo and Max Gunther on the second row. Andrew Lau, Adam Barker have the third row. Dylan Steinbach, Simon Zierk on the fourth row. Rudolph Gunther, Brian Hewitt rounding out the top 10. Mike Dolly, Cody Kennedy starting in 11th and 12th. Ryan McDaniel and Nicole, that's what she said, Creasel, round out the 14-car field here this morning. Hey, thank you for the stars, Ryan. Everybody getting on the grid at the moment. Ryan ready to get to the front. I do know Ryan practiced here a lot this week. However, unfortunately, he did practice in the rain. Without the rain in the race today, things could be substantially different. It's going to be an interesting morning for sure. And a huge shout out to Track Cams for Gourmets to get us these awesome new cameras in time for today's race. Nick Sorensen leads him around through the last couple of turns on this track. Turn 1, a big right-hander. You start working up the hill through a series of S's. If you can get a good run up that hill, you can make a lot of moves out here. Taylor's Yorkshire tea. Might have to look into that. Harry Volsmeer back in the car this morning. Have not seen Harry since Alton Park over a month ago. Great to have Harry back in the car this morning. Through that final turn, the Porsche pace car getting ready to head to pit road. Pace car is in. Sorensen in control here. Sorensen fires. They are away. Green flag is in the air at Mugello. The season finale is underway. Sorensen out front into turn 1. Harry dives it into 1 and gets past Giancarlo and takes the lead. What a move by Harry. Everybody else straightening out as they come up the hill through the S section. Simon Zierk already picking up a spot here in the early going, now up into 7th. Brian Hewitt has had a problem back behind. Meanwhile, out front, Harry already pulling away to 3/4 of a second lead. Adam Barker has gone off track, quickly recovered. Let's see what happened to Brian on lap 1. There's Brian coming up through the S. Oh, he got that big bump and spins it down into the inside wall. The drivers were very concerned about those bumps at the apex of the turn. We saw those bumps have a major impact last week at COTA. Looking like they may have a bit of an impact again here tonight as they come this morning as they come down to complete lap number 1. And here he leads the first lap ever in GT3 NSS competition at Mugello. Ryan McDaniel has made his way up into 12th place, running down Cody Kennedy in 11th. Mike Dolan currently sitting back in 10th, struggling a bit here this morning. Surprised to see him going this slowly. Rudolph Gunther in 9th, Dylan Steinbach back to 8th, Barker in 7th, Adam Barker in a Mercedes this morning. That might have been one of the bigger shocks of the morning, seeing Barker in a Mercedes. Definitely a very Porsche-heavy field. 7 Porsches in the field this morning, and currently, including the current leader. Porsche's currently set 1st, 3rd, and 5th in the top 5. 5 Porsches in the top 10. Nick Sorensen still holding on to 2nd, 0.8 of a second back. Max Gunther in 3rd. Giancarlo back in 4th, the points leader. A slow start this morning. He is in a Ford, however, and this will thankfully be the last time Giancarlo will be in the Ford. It will be retired at the end of this season. Max Gunther has just shot by Sorensen coming up the hill to take 2nd. Brian Hewitt, after his spin trying to recover, has gotten past Nicole, trying to run down Ryan. Ryan still trying to close that gap on Cody Kennedy. Meanwhile, last time by, Harry Volsmeer did set the fastest lap of the morning. Sorensen in 3rd, has to keep Giancarlo behind him all morning long for any hope at the title. Let's see if we can take a lap around with Nick Sorensen as he comes out of the final turn down the front straightaway. Carrying as much speed, gaining as much speed as they can up the hill toward turn 1. As late as possible on the brakes, diving into turn 1. You're turning uphill. And Giancarlo slipped by. On and off the throttle up through that S section. Back on the brakes, into the next turn, right-hander. Then start working back downhill. Carrying as much momentum as possible through the right, then the left. Back on the power into this right, sweeping right-hander. On the power down the straightaway into the next chicane. And a lot of those little yellow bumps at the apex to cause problems here this morning. Easing back onto the power. Another little chicane, you can cut just a little bit. And down into that final turn. Back on the power, back toward the start-finish line. Across the line, and Sorensen did that lap in 151.8, losing a little bit of ground when Giancarlo went past. Max Gunther in second, trying to reel in Harry out front, but Harry has already pulled out to a 1.2 second lead. Giancarlo back in third, trying to close the gap. Andrew Lau now closing in on Nick Sorensen. Adam Barker in sixth in the Mercedes. Surprised to see him in that Mercedes this morning. And no Hello Kitty on the car. Simon Zierk now up into seventh. Dylan Steinbach back in eighth. Rudolph Gunther in ninth, all right there together. Harry's lead starting to shrink just a little bit. Max is closing in. Mike Dolling is in the Conliff Racing BMW called the Conliff Racing. Harry Volsmir, the leader, has had a problem. Let's see what happened to Harry. Oh, gets one of those bumps at the apex. It turns him around, sends him into the tire wall. Those apex bumps are brutal this morning. Max Gunther now in the lead. Giancarlo in second. Sorensen back up to third. Lau in fourth. Adam Barker in fifth. As we were saying, Mike Dolling in the Conliff car. The Conliff Racing team will be taking on the 12 Hours of Sebring here in just a few weeks. You can check out their entire schedule at conliff-racing.com. Also, make sure you check out their new partner, Advanced Sim Racing. You can find them on Facebook and on their webpage, and they have some beautiful, beautiful gear. Giancarlo in second, losing ground to the leader. Sorensen currently running in third. Sorensen closing back in on Giancarlo. Remember, he has to keep, Sorensen has to beat Giancarlo in both races by quite a bit to take the title here today. However, so far this morning is definitely not going Nick's way. Andrew Lau up into 4th, Barker in 5th, Zierk in 6th. Steinbach now in 7th, Rudolph Gunther in 8th, Harry Volsmir back to 9th. After that spin, Mike Dolling in 10th, Cody Kennedy in 11th, Brian Hewitt on the charge back toward the front in 12th. Ryan McDaniel holds on to 13th, Nicole back behind in 14th. Nick Sorensen gains a little bit of ground on Giancarlo every lap, but loses it in the second half of the track. Just seems to lose ground. Looks like the Ferrari is better through the first part, though. Only 2 Ferraris in the field this morning, Nick Sorensen and Nicole Kriesel. 7 Porsches, 3 BMWs, 1 Mercedes, and sadly, 1 Ford. Max Gunther not in contention for the championship, but still, if he could win both races this morning, could pull up into the top 5. He came into this morning 7th in points. Not far behind Dylan Steinbach and Yuo. Yuo not in the race this morning. And the beautiful unicorn Angie James cheering on Cody Kennedy. Cody back in 11th. This is a long front straightaway. Likely these guys carrying a bunch of speed. But with that uphill section, that does cost them a little bit of speed. Surprisingly slow as they come up the hill. Oh, Sorensen a bit wide back there. Looked like Gunther topped out about 155 on that front straightaway. $120 down that short back straightaway, then back onto the brakes. We'll see what he gets on the front straightaway, as it looks like Giancarlo may be closing in. Having to slow down through that final turn, gets down to about 60, then back on the throttle. Already back up to 130. Now up to 150. How fast can he get that car going? 157. And then on the brakes, right around 157 miles an hour. Track temperature has come up, but not dramatically. Now up to 101 degrees. Only up 2 degrees from what they practiced in, so the car definitely going to feel like they are expecting. Tire wear should be about what they were expecting as well. And Giancarlo in the Ford closing in on the Porsche of Max Gunther. Nick Sorensen back in third, losing ground to the top two. Andrew Lau fourth, Adam Barker fifth. No huge changes in position here this morning other than Harry Volsmeer, who had that spin earlier and has dropped back to ninth as his sights set on Rudolf Gunther in eighth. And Giancarlo has gone around. It looked like he may have gotten loose coming through that final turn. Let's see what happened as white flag flies. There's Giancarlo closing right in on Max Gunther. Just pushes it a little too hard. And everybody's going to come by right in front of him. Just couldn't get the power down. Max Gunther down the hill toward the second half of the track to complete his final lap in race one. Looking like he will start seventh for race two with the top seven invert. And Harry Volsmeer has just moved into seventh place. He will start up front again. Nick Sorensen currently runs second. Giancarlo dropping back to ninth. A huge shakeup in the points in race one. And through the final turn, Max Gunther gets it done. The first ever winner in the GT3 NSS League at Mugello. Nick Sorensen comes home at second. Andrew Lau pulls off third. Let's see if we can talk to our top three, starting with Lau. Andrew, not a bad way to start the morning, especially at a track that you guys haven't been to before.
Yeah, I'm not sure how I wound up here, but I'll gladly take it.
Well, a good, consistent, clean run seems to be the key here.
Yeah, Fords are bad at that, so here we are.
They are. Fords are definitely going to Ford, but the Porsche seem to get it done. Seem to be the fastest out there this morning.
Yeah, if Max is driving it, I'm just kind of cruising around here. We're kind of just doing our own thing here. I couldn't really catch Nick, and Adam was a little bit far behind, so we're just doing some laps.
Well, man, it was a great job and a great podium finish, buddy. Congratulations.
Thanks, Doug.
Andrew Lau coming home in third. Nick Sorensen comes back to finish in second. Nick, man, you were back and forth, always in the top 5, but you come home with that podium, and more importantly, 7 spots ahead of Giancarlo.
Yeah, it's had an up and down race, a little bit inconsistent, but I'm definitely happy with the second place there. Max drove great to get the win, and second place gave me hopefully right there in the points for second in the championship.
Well, looking at the stats, you're still in the fight for first in the championship, and you closed that 20-point gap by half.
Well, yeah, I thought Giancarlo had it all but wrapped up, but apparently not, and we got to try and do the best result we can in the second race.
Well, man, great job. Congratulations. It was an awesome finish.
Thanks, Doug.
Nick Sorensen coming home in second. And Max Gunther pulls off the win. Max, how's it feel to be the first ever winner here at Mugello?
Great. It feels great.
It looked like that Porsche was just perfectly planted and extremely fast this morning.
Yeah, it is. Harry had just an unfortunate incident. I think he just spun. But I wouldn't have catched him, I think, on pure pace. He's really fast.
He definitely looked fast, and it looked, 3 Porsches in the top 5, 5 in the top 10. It looks like the Porsche definitely has the advantage here this morning.
Yeah, I think so. The fast, long sweeping corners, I think the Porsche really enjoys. Let's see how the tires look at the end of the 50 minutes.
Probably shredded. I did hear a lot of guys saying that left front is going to take a beating.
Yes, it does.
Well, man, congratulations. The first ever winner at Mugello. Great job, bud.
Thank you, Doug. Thank you.
Max Gunther pulling off the win. This will shake up the points, though. Sorensen came into the morning 20 points behind Giancarlo. Double checking the numbers here. Yeah, he just gained 10 points. Half that gap. We'll see if we can talk to Giancarlo right quick. Hey, Giancarlo, it's Doug. You got me?
Hey, Doug. Unexpected.
That was, especially since you came into this one all but securing another championship, and now, after that event, there is a little bit of a battle here.
Well, it wouldn't be the final race in the Ford if there wasn't a spin. It was, as is tradition. I did it just for you.
Ford's gonna Ford, buddy.
Exactly, but there's still a whole other race left. So there's so many more options, so many more chances to spin. Just you wait.
I'm definitely looking forward to seeing Ford spin. It definitely makes my day, and definitely makes highlight reels too.
There you go. Well, hopefully I'll get a couple in this race around for you, because it is unfortunately going to be retired next season with rain coming in.
Oh, that's a plus. I have to say, though, the second race, more points on the line. Are you going to be keeping a much closer eye on Nick in this one?
I'm going to try to. I mean, obviously the first goal is just to finish the race without any big mistakes. But we're starting 9th, I think. So there's a lot of the field to try to get through to get up to the front, and we'll try to just be careful with it.
And looking at the Porsches this morning, just seem to be dominating. They have all the speed. Did you have anything when you were up front? Did you have anything at all for Harry?
I don't think so. I think the Ford, as we've seen in the past, is a bit faster in a straight line, which is nice down the main straight. But through the corners, they're able to just carry much more speed and get on the power earlier, which kind of leaves me in the dust. So a bit of a trade-off. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, it's a good thing the Ford's going to be retired, man. Good luck in race 2.
Thanks, Doug.
We are so thankful that he is retiring the Ford next year. I do not believe the Ford got rain tires. All right, here we go. Race number 2. The season finale. Harry Volsmere, Dylan Steinbach on the front row. Simon Zierk, Adam Barker on the second. Andrew Lau, Nick Sorensen on the third. Max Gunther, Rudolph Gunther on the fourth. Giancarlo and Mike Dolling round out the top 10. Cody Kennedy in 11th, Brian Hewitt in 12th, Ryan McDaniel starts 13th, Nicole, that's what she said, Creasel, rounding out the 14-car field here this morning. Tire wear will be an issue, fuel strategy will be an issue, and obviously how well these drivers know the track is also going to be an issue here this morning. Track temperature holding at 101 degrees at the moment. Harry Volsmere was running away early in race 1. Can he do it again here in race 2? And after race 1, a big shakeup in the point standings. Out of the final turn, Harry will be in control once the pace car hits pit road. Pace car is in. Harry has fired and is away. Green flag is in the air. The final race of the season is underway at Mugello. And 3 wide mid-pack as Giancarlo tries to shoot to the front. Sorensen still ahead of Giancarlo at the moment. Andrew Lau came into this morning third in points, also up there in the mix. A little bit of squirrely race cars. Mac behind. Hey, good morning, Russell Worth. Adam Barker currently sitting in third. His first time driving the Mercedes, I believe, this season. Yeah, this is the first time we have seen Adam in a Mercedes this season. Might be the first time ever. I don't ever recall seeing him in it before. Max Gunther won race 1 on the attack to the outside of Simon Zierk, but he'll be on the inside into the next turn. Simon trying to fight back. Max beats him though down into the next turn, and Max now to 4th. Giancarlo has now moved into 6th. Nick Sorensen right on his bumper in 7th. As we saw in race 1, though, anything can happen here. Dylan Steinbach in second place, hanging right with Harry at the moment. They have opened up a 2-second gap back to Adam in third, Max in fourth, and Simon in fifth. Giancarlo in sixth, 1.4 seconds back. Sorensen all over his bumper. Andrew Lau back in ninth, Mike Dolling in 10th. Ryan McDaniel now up into 11th, Hewitt 12th, Cody Kennedy back in 13th, Nicole Kriesel in 14th. Dylan trying like crazy to stay on Harry's bumper, just not able to do it. Harry already pulling away up to 1.4 seconds. Be interesting to see what kind of speed the Mercedes gets at the end of this long straightaway. We saw the Porsche doing 156, 157, and Mercedes has the power advantage here. But he will have to get onto the brake a little bit earlier. 158 for the Mercedes. Adam Barker did set the fastest lap last time by. Nick Sorensen has had a problem back behind one of the championship contenders. Sorensen right on Giancarlo's bumper. Oh! We've talked about those bumps at the apex of some of these turns this morning. Nick just barely gets one. Gets it out into the tire wall, quickly recovers. But lost a ton of ground and has towed to pit road. Sorensen's championship hopes appear to be over. Giancarlo currently running in 6th place. Sorensen on pit road. And Harry Volsmere just checking out. He is now 2.4 seconds ahead of Dylan. Max Gunther now to 3rd, Barker in 4th, Zierk in 5th. Giancarlo right there with them in 6th. Rudolph Gunther not far behind in 7th, Lau in 8th, Dolling in 9th, Ryan McDaniel now to 10th, and Harry Volsmere just set the fastest lap. Harry is on fire here this morning. He was the fastest in race 1 until that car got loose on him. Ended up in a tire wall. Ryan McDaniel is closing in on 9th place. Mike Dolling at the moment. Ryan did practice a lot here in the rain this week. Expecting the rain to come. It will not come today. And obviously the laps he has put in here are paying off. Oh! Ryan got loose coming down the hill. Let's take a look from overhead. Coming out of that turn. Oh, he just barely clips the grass on the outside. It spins him around. Quickly gets the car recovered back out on track, but loses several positions. Ryan now back to 12th. Giancarlo has had a problem. He is way back. There's Giancarlo right on Simon's bumper. Just loses the back end through that right-hander. Keeps it out of the wall, but loses a ton of track position. That moves Giancarlo back into 11th. Nick Sorensen is back out on track in 14th. But a lap behind, he has got a lot of ground to make up. Meanwhile, out front, Harry Volsmere just keeps getting faster. Harry up the hill through the S's, just continuing to pull away from Dylan. Now 4.5 seconds ahead. Max Gunther in third, Adam Barker fourth, Simon Zierk in fifth. They're starting to spread out just a little bit as well. Rudolph Gunther in sixth. Andrew Lau in seventh, losing ground. Dolling in eighth. Cody Kennedy now up into ninth, and Brian Hewitt in 10th. Giancarlo currently sits in 11th. Ryan back in 12th. Nicole in 13th. Sorensen back in 14th. Cody Kennedy continuing to attack, and Giancarlo's closing back in on the top 10. Giancarlo in 11th has 10th place. Brian Hewitt just ahead. Cody Kennedy not far ahead. Cody is starting to reel in. Mike Dolling in 8th. Definitely a heartbreaking morning for Nick Sorensen. He gained a lot of ground in the championship battle after race number 1. They came into the morning. Giancarlo had a 20-point lead. Sorensen gained 10 points on him coming into the morning. After race 1, Sorensen gains 10 points, but unless something dramatic happens to everybody ahead of him, Sorensen is going to lose a lot of ground here. And Angie telling Cody to go full send. He better. Giancarlo's right on his bumper. Giancarlo, the three-time champ, going for his fourth title here this morning. But Giancarlo is in a Ford. Anything could happen here. Giancarlo on the attack underneath the BMW of Cody Kennedy takes ninth. Rudolph Gunther going a little wide. Rudolph now up into sixth and is closing the gap on Simon Zierk and Adam Barker. And that Harry guy is lead now 5.6 seconds. He has gone to another dimension. The battle is on for second between Steinbach and Max Gunther into turn one. Steinbach has the advantage. Max Gunther, though, sends it deep into the turn and pulls off the move. Close call for Dylan, clipping that bump in the middle of the apex. Ryan McDaniel has had a problem. There's Ryan. Oh! Ryan had to get on the brakes earlier than Nicole did. They get together. Ryan quickly recovers, but loses the position. Giancarlo now pulling away from Cody, sets his sights on 8th place, Mike Dolling. Andrew Lau in 7th, Rudolph Gunther in 6th. We're still trying to close that gap. On 5th place, Simon Zierk, 4th place, Adam Barker. Dylan Steinbach in 3rd, still within striking distance of Max Gunther. Nobody within striking distance, though, of Harry Volsmeer. Harry's lead now 6.1 seconds and growing. Have to wonder if he made some adjustments to the car after race one to prevent, or to help prevent, that car from going around under power. Definitely looking faster, which is really impressive. He was already extremely fast in race one. Looks even faster here in race two. Max Gunther in second, trying to put some breathing room between him and Dylan. Adam Barker has gained a little bit of ground on the battle ahead now, just 2.25 seconds back. Simon still just over a second behind. Rudolph Gunther starting to close the gap in on Zierk. Andrew Lau currently running in 7th, Mike Dolling in 8th, and Giancarlo has just about caught up to Mike Dolling. Cody Kennedy lurking back behind in 10th. Brian Hewitt currently in 11th. Nicole up to 12th. Ryan McDaniel currently in 13th. Nick Sorensen back in 14th. Sorensen was one of the faster cars on the track in the early going, but after that incident, towing to pit road has put him a lap down. The only hope for Sorensen right now is if his stop was long enough to have gotten tires and fuel, enough fuel to go the distance. Giancarlo has taken 8th now from Mike Doling. Rudolph Gunther was gaining some ground on Simon, but Simon has pulled away now to 3.6 seconds, staying with Adam Barker in 4th at the moment. Harry's lead over Max, holding on about 6.1 seconds at the moment. Dylan staying about 1.1 seconds back in 3rd. Giancarlo in 8th, about 11.25 seconds behind Lau. He does appear to be gaining some ground. Mike Doling able for the moment to stay with Giancarlo. Doing some quick math here for Sorensen to pull off the title here. He has to finish 8th or better, and Giancarlo has to finish last. So definitely it's gonna take a miracle here for Nick. What started off as a very promising morning for Sorensen has fallen apart. Harry Volsmere, meanwhile, continues to lead race 2. He led the first half of race 1 before it all went wrong. He managed to fight his way back up into 7th place to put himself on the pole for race 2 and is just checked out here. Max Gunther sits in 2nd, Dylan Steinbach in 3rd. Hey, good morning, cowboy. Adam Barker in 4th and Simon Zierk in 5th. Everybody spreading out just a little bit here at the moment. And it looks like our first pit stop is underway. Here comes Barker. And Nicole is in. And this likely the first time some of these drivers have been down this pit road. Oh, nice, dude. I'll go take a look at it here in a bit. And Harry is just flying around here this morning. Max Gunther not able to gain any ground at the moment. Dylan still staying about 1 1/4. Nick Sorensen has had a problem again. Sorensen out of turn 1, up the hill, just loses the back end. Quickly recovers it, but lost a lot of time on track and a heartbreak. Nick Sorensen's last hope may have just gone out the window with that spin. Oh, I look forward to seeing the new logo, buddy. Harry's lead now almost 7 seconds over Max Gunther. Dylan Steinbach has started losing ground to Max in third. Simon Zierk back in fourth. Rudolph Infant. Cowboy, you're far more talented than I am, buddy. Andrew Lau sitting in 6th, Giancarlo in 7th, Mike Dolling in 8th, Cody Kennedy in 9th, Brian Hewitt in 10th, Adam Barker and Nicole Creasel both back out of pit road. Adam now back into 11th, Nicole Creasel back to 14th. That's always a plus. Brian Hewitt has had a problem. Hewitt coming up the hill just gets loose, goes around. Quickly gets it backed around and recovered, but man, the time he lost. Nicole Creasel has had a problem as well. And going to pit road, Ryan McDaniel is in for his stop. Down the front straightaway, looks like she just pulls over and stops, not sure why. Cody Kennedy is now on pit road as well. He is up for tires. Will we see everybody in the field taking tires this morning? We knew that left front would just be getting eaten alive here. Giancarlo has now made his way to 7th, trying to run down 6th place Andrew Lau. Lau still staying right in the bumper of Rudolf Gunther. Lau Lau's coming in. He gives up 6th place, comes to pit road. Nicole sitting on pit road. Will Andrew Lau be taking tires? Yes! Tires and fuel here. Sorensen on his way down pit road. The top 7 have not been to pit road, nor has 9th place Brian Hewitt. Andrew Lau is currently the highest running car that has completed his pit stop in 8th. Brian Hewitt is on pit road. Hewitt is up for tires as well. Max Gunther, Dylan Steinbach on their way in. Will these leaders take tires this time? These pit stops could definitely be a deciding factor here. Max is up. Dylan is up. 4 tires and fuel. Dylan Steinbach on his way back out. Max Gunther on his way back out as well. Less than 20 minutes to go, and Harry's lead is continued to grow all morning. Can Max or Dylan do anything with fresh tires? And how far will Harry stretch the fuel and the tires, knowing everybody is getting tires back behind? Actually, looking at lap times, Harry's have been extremely consistent. Last time by, he was only 0.7 of a second off his fastest lap. Harry will not come in this time. Simon Zierk is on his way in. Rudolf Gunther is going to head in. That just leaves Giancarlo and Mike Dolling and our leader, Harry Volsmir. Giancarlo does not come in, nor does Mike Dolling. Hey, Nicole, what happened? Harry coming out of the final turn. Should see Harry, Giancarlo, and Mike Dolling in the next few laps. And here comes Harry Volsmir. The leader is on pit road. Well, I disagree with that, Nicole. Harry hits the first pit stall. He is up for tires and fuel. Will Giancarlo come in? Giancarlo is going to stay out this time. Mike Dolling stays out. Harry is already on his way off pit road and may maintain first place after his stop. He does. Despite a hard-charging Giancarlo, Harry Volsmir has maintained the lead. Giancarlo in second. Third place, Mike Dolling. Both still have to hit pit road. Giancarlo trying to hang with Harry for the moment. Mike Dolling further back. Dylan Steinbach has completed his stop, is in fourth, closing the gap. Simon Zierk right there with him in fifth. Max Gunther lost some ground on pit road, is now back into sixth. I must have missed that, Nicole, but I can't imagine anybody being upset about it. Giancarlo gives up second. He is on pit road. Mike Dolling is the last one to pit. He's on his way in. And Harry Volsmir holds on to the lead and now has a, 14-second lead over second place, Dylan Steinbach. Simon Zierk sitting in third, Max Gunther in fourth, Andrew Lau now in fifth. Rudolph Gunther back in sixth. Giancarlo on his way out will maintain seventh. Mike Dolling is still surprisingly on pit road. No idea what's going on there. He is losing positions quickly. Based on the time he was on pit road, I suspect Mike Dolling got a penalty on pit road entry. He is now slipped back into 10th. The battle is on from second on back. But with 12 minutes to go, nobody can catch Harry. Unless he makes a mistake, Harry's lead 14 and a half seconds and growing. Nicole, I wouldn't worry about it. Smile. Go on to the next one. Don't forget, folks, after this one, we'll take a short break. We will be back at 1:30 Eastern as Home Motorsports GT4 Series comes to an end at Daytona. And tonight, the BRR Series playoffs continue. Mike Dolling is in a problem. Mike had just come off pit road after a penalty, and it just pulled over and towed it in. So Mike Dolling now dropping positions quickly. Brian Hewitt back up to 10th. Ryan McDaniel back up into 11th. Harry Volsmere continues to lead, but that lead has shrunk for the first time all morning long. Dylan gained over half a second on the last lap on Harry. Looks like Harry Volsmere may just be in a bit of a conservation mode, just not pushing the car to the limit. His lead still holding right about 14 seconds over Steinbach. Max Gunther has gotten past Simon Zierk to take third. Simon now in fourth. Lau back in fifth, closing in on Simon. The only concern at this point for Harry Volsmere is the lap traffic ahead. Cody Kennedy in ninth, trying to close the gap on 8th place, Adam Barker. Giancarlo in 7th is gaining ground on Rudolph Gunther, but is 5 1/4 seconds back. Gunther in 6th, Andrew Lau in 5th is closing the gap on Simon Zierk in 4th, now down to 3.1 seconds. That Porsche definitely getting through some of the corners a lot better. Max Gunther still staying right on Dylan's bumper. Dylan definitely pushing the car. Trying to keep Max behind him and reel in Harry. It looks like Harry may have taken a lap just to cool the tires down because he has pulled out a little bit of a gap again, back to 14 and a half seconds. Dylan Steinbach and Max Gunther still nose to tail. Simon Zierk now 2 seconds behind. Lau gains a little one lap, loses a little the next, now 4 seconds back. Giancarlo still reeling in. Rudolph Gunther now 4.3 seconds back. Giancarlo did say the Ford had the advantage on these straightaways, but in the curves, the Porsche always wins. Cody Kennedy in ninth, does not have to push it from here. Brian Hewitt in 10th, about over a minute behind. 11th place, Ryan McDaniel, another minute and a half back. Mike Dolling out of the race. Sorensen out of the race. Nicole Kriesel still on pit road. Giancarlo continuing to reel in Rudolph Gunther. The Max Gunther, Dylan Steinbach battle heating up as they come through lap traffic as well. Just passing Ryan McDaniel. Max looks to the inside. He's going to try and make the move on the straight. Side by side down that front straightaway. It could be a matter of who blinks first. Into turn one. Dylan is ahead. Max crosses over. Max goes way deep into one. Side by side out of one, down into the hisses. Max ahead for the moment and takes second. Dylan caught one of those bumps in the apex. Managed to hold on to it, but that might have been what cost him second place. And Simon Zierk has closed back within a second. That battle ahead has definitely helped out Simon. Meanwhile, Max Gunther has stopped looking in his mirror, is now looking ahead to see if he can close a 15.8 second gap. Harry Volsmir likely saying, nobody can touch me now. He opened the lead now 16 seconds. At the line, it is exactly a 16-second lead for Harry Volsmir. Max Gunther in second, Dylan Steinbach in third, Simon Zierk in fourth. Those three 1.5 seconds apart. Andrew Lau back in fifth, closing in a little bit as well. Rudolph Gunther still holds on to sixth, but has Giancarlo just 3 seconds back. Just imagine where Giancarlo would be today if he had driven a real car. Adam Barker back in 8th, Cody Kennedy in 9th, Brian Hewitt in 10th. Harry Volsmir has dominated the morning at Mugello. He had that unfortunate incident in race 1 that sent him back from the lead to about 11th. Managed to charge back to 7th in the last 10 minutes of the race. Started on the pole for this one and has just checked out from the drop of the green. White flag is in the air one more time around for Harry Volsmir. This will be only his second win of the season. He won race number 1 at Hockenheim. Dylan Steinbach has jumped back to pit road. Did he not get enough fuel? Rudolph Gunther now moving into 5th. Giancarlo in 6th while Dylan's on pit road. That is a heartbreak for Dylan. Max now has breathing room in 2nd. Simon Zierk 2 seconds behind in 3rd. Lau back and 4th. Rudolph in 5th. Giancarlo in 6th. Less than a second and a half behind. What a comeback for Giancarlo this morning. Just a few more turns for Harry. Just a half a lap more for Giancarlo to secure his championship. Simon Zierk has had a problem on the final lap. And out of the final turn, Harry Volsmir dominates at Mugello. He will get the win in race number 2. Max Gunther is going to come home in 2nd. Lau finishes in 3rd. Let's see what happened to Simon on the last lap. Oh, he just shot out into the sand. Manages to get the car back out on track and then spins it. Finally gets it rolling again. Let's talk to our top 3 and our champ. Andrew, another podium, another race, another podium.
Again, I have no idea how I'm here, but yeah, I'll take it.
Well, man, a great job and a great season. You may even pull up to 2nd in points to finish the season with Sorensen's problem in race 2.
Yeah, I'm not sure where we were coming into this race, but the main goal was just to beat Nick today, because no chance of catching Giancarlo. But so Nick was a target. He got DQ'd, so big points for us today.
Well, man, a great job today. Congratulations. A great season, buddy.
Thanks, Doug. It's been a fun one.
Max Gunther comes home in 2nd. Max, another podium finish here at Mugello. That's a great morning, buddy.
Yeah, it was a great race. It was nice fighting with Dylan and Simon. I don't know what happened at the start, but I thought actually Giancarlo was somewhere in the mix, but then suddenly disappeared.
Well, he had some incidents, but, Ford's going to Ford.
Yeah.
Man, another great race and another great season. Congratulations, Max.
Thank you. Thank you, Doug.
And our winner, Harry Volsmeer. Harry, had it not been for the spin in race 1, you would have dominated the whole morning. Race 2, you showed you were the fastest.
Yeah, it went all right. Nothing much to tell, actually.
Well, you walked away from the field right from the drop of the green. I don't think anybody, looking at the lap times, nobody was as fast as you, but not only that, nobody was as consistent as you.
Well, that's always nice. But it's a new track. I expected rain, so this was easy.
Well, I imagine next week we're going to see some rain for the first time, but great win.
I hate it.
Great win. Congratulations, Harry.
Thank you.
And it looks like our champion, Giancarlo, has actually left the building. How dare he? So with that, we will say we will see you here. We will see you back here shortly at 1:30 Eastern for the Home Motorsports GT4 season finale at Daytona. Folks, have a great afternoon. Go get some lunch. We will be back soon. Thanks for watching, everybody.